dating in 2022, back in the day, like let's say when it was very much more traditional, say in the 1950s or whatever, if you went on a date with someone, that person could end up being your wife or husband. Like most people back then probably went on 3 dates, 3 people. People will do that. Will go on 3 dates in a week, 3 dates in a month. So there's a diminished likelihood of any one given date proceeding or going further. So I think for that burden to continue to fall primarily on men is not great. And to add to that point, I don't want to pay for a girl that's fucking another guy.
Oh.
So the fact of the matter is most people are sleeping with at least one other person. Like and this applies to both men and women. If you're going on a first date with someone, you have to assume going in that they're at least one other person, at least one. I know some girls that got 2, 3, 4 guys on their roster. So I'm not going to adhere to my traditional gender roles, and you're fucking a bunch of other people. And that girls can have that same standard too. Girls can certainly have an issue with, I don't want to date a guy that's a player that's sleeping around. So that's my take. Yeah, because I would just feel like that would rub me the wrong way major. If I'm on a date with the girl, I pay for everything. Good night. She gives me the ass out hug. She takes the doggy bag to the guy she's fucking, gives him the food that I paid for, and he eats it. Then he fucks her. That's like almost getting into cuck territory. Like, so that would be a serious problem for me. So I'm going to open it back up to you guys. You guys had a bit of a reaction to that. Does anybody want to come in?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Definitely.
Come in.
So this is a serious question. So when you plan on going on a date with someone, like, do you ask them, like, are you, like, right off the bat, like, are you sleeping with someone?
Do I ask them?
Yeah. I mean, how would you know that they're f***ing other guys?
I don't. I just assume it.
So you're just assuming.
I assume if I'm going on a date with a girl.
Are you f***ing other girls?
Depends. But no, mostly I typically, there's been a few times, there's been a bit of crossover, but 90% of the time, I'm so busy, I'm not going on a bunch of dates. If I'm going on a date, like maybe once a month, maybe, I'm just too busy. I don't have time. So most of the time, if I'm pursuing a girl, I'm probably only pursuing her really. So that's me. Go ahead. Go ahead. No,
I feel like it's weird kind of to expect that, because then if I went on a date with a guy who's single and he's not any other girls, then I would be like, well, why isn't he? Like, what's wrong with him? Obviously, there's been some flags going off for other girls to make them avoid the situation. So, I mean, like, I personally would be like more inclined to want to go on a date, at least a first date,
with a guy who's
the guy who's like normal, who's like hooking up with girls and I'm hooking up with guys. Like, I mean, I feel like that's dating in 2022, like you said. If I was dating, then I wouldn't be like looking for the celibate weirdo. No offense, not saying you're a weirdo, but
I am
that's not who I would be looking for.
Yeah, well, no, so I mean, yeah, you are right about the dating meta. Yes. And like I said, people are just willy-nilly just sleeping with a bunch of people. There's a lot of not crossover, but you're going to be, a girl's going to be dating a guy. He's going to be sleeping with some other girls. Like, so that is the sort of how dating is right now. I don't think that that's a good thing. But so what you're saying is you would almost prefer it if a brand new guy you're seeing, he's like and a couple other chicks.
Well, I mean, like, what do you mean a brand new guy I'm seeing? I'm talking about like a first date with somebody. Like, I wouldn't care, and I probably wouldn't even know if he was.
Right, but so you wouldn't be put off if you're going on the first date with a guy and you know he's sleeping with someone else. What does that say about your potential long-term prospects with that person? Because he's got another thing, he's got 2 side pieces. Let's say you're dating seriously. You're looking for a long-term relationship. I'm not saying that guy might not be incredibly attractive. He might be very attractive. He might be very good looking. Clearly, if he can attract other women, yes, he's got that social proof. So it's sort of speaks.
I don't feel like that would at all interrupt a long-term prospect, because I think if he likes you enough, or he's into you, or you have that
he's
connection,
gonna cut the other girls off.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think if somebody really likes you and really wants to make that connection with you specifically, then yeah, they're gonna like cut off all their side people to pursue you. And I think that that's oftentimes how it actually like does take place in the real world.
Well, I guess let me ask you this. Do you think it's more likely that, are you more likely to end up in a long-term relationship with a guy that really only dates one girl at a time and you're his only prospect, or getting with the player that's got 7 chicks and you're number 8 on his roster and he calls you on Friday nights at 12 p.m., but you want to maybe, who knows, wait around. You're such a great woman, maybe he'll come around, or are you just, he's just going to fuck you and chuck you?
That's not what I'm saying, though, because I'm not talking about like a player like, ooh, I'm going out with some guy and he's like f***ing every girl in the city. I'm talking about going out with a guy who's having sex with like maybe 1 to 2 other people who he's like also seeing, and then we meet, and then we decide that we really like each other, and then we have like an open conversation about like not hooking up with other people, and then that's how it goes. Like, I would never seek out, nor have I ever sought out a guy who's like having sex with like 20 plus girls at a time. Like, that's just not my type.
I mean, that's a very top tier. I don't know how you'd even
okay,
schedule
like 10
that.
10 girls.
I mean,
at a time.
honestly, I do think when you start getting into the territory of a guy who's sleeping with 2 or 3 women at a time, you are starting to get into the territory of top tier male, high status male.
I don't know.
Like, well, maybe not high status male, but you are getting into a territory of that guy is probably not likely to want to commit. I could be wrong. Did you want to come in? And then Luke, I think you wanted to.
You can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, going back to, you know, like you being bothered by this person fucking other people and giving them the dinner that you bought. I feel like, to me, that's weird, because it's like an ego. It's like giving, like, I'm insecure that this person's fucking other people, so it's like my ego's in the way, and I'm making all these assumptions and creating these hypotheticals, and upset that this dinner's going to this like person that you don't even know. You know, you don't even know. And I think it's kind of like, I think that if you're very casual initial dating, like assuming that people are maybe seeing other people and there hasn't been a conversation about where this is going or what's happening, and this is like your first time like going on a date with someone, and it's like kind of like what she said, I don't think we're like going after these dudes that are like f***ing all these girls and just like, you know, like looking to just like have us look like clowns at the end of the day. But I just think if you're self-aware enough, you know that people that aren't on an app are probably like seeing other people or talking to other people. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're fucking them. I think you can make connections with people like we are now, and it's just like, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna fuck you, you know? It's just like, what you messaged me on Hinge to come on this thing, you know? And so it's kind of like, it's
that, by the way, that is, no, I mean, that's one of the ways that I get people to come on the show is they are on a dating app. I'm like, hey, come be on the show. So go ahead.
Exactly. So it's like not every person on the app, like you're not in there to be like, I'm going to fuck every single girl I message.
If I'm on a date with a girl, I've already decided I want to sleep with her. It might not happen, but most men, if they're on a date with a girl, even before we've even met you, we know we want to sleep with you. Girls typically don't work like that. You'll figure it out within 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, am I going to sleep with him tonight? Maybe a couple more dates, or just not interested at all.
Wait, so you know that like before?
If I'm on a date
what if you
with
get
a girl,
catfished? Have you like, you're like, I know I'm gonna this girl, and then what if you meet her and you're like, never mind. This is not the same. This is not the same girl I was looking at.
It's a girl has to severely f up in some way. Women, you got to talk yourself out of getting late. Like,
so are your standards just low?
What do you no?
Like you just will fuck anyone like that whose picture you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna fuck her.
Well, I mean, shocker, men are primarily they're primarily focused on a woman's looks, and it takes a lot as a woman to like talk your way out of sex with a guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I've definitely like met the girl. There's she's kind of weird, or and I've been like, I'm not interested, right? But when I'm show up on the date, like I know ahead of time, like she's attractive. I want to sleep with her. It's not that complicated. Most men are like that.
They are.
And it's not like every single girl I'm matching with, I'm trying to like get on a date, you know? So, but okay. So to address it, you address a couple of the things you said. So I want to make it clear, like, I realize how the dating meta is, but this is just, and it's interesting that you said it was about ego and me being insecure. It has nothing to do with ego or insecurity. It just happens to be my preference, my standard. In the same way that women have all sorts of standards, preferences, and boundaries, I happen to have a preference, standard, or boundary that relates to, by the way, that relates to, I don't want the girl that I'm seeing. By the way, it's not about controlling her either. She's free to do whatever she wants. But it is a turnoff for me if I'm on a date with a girl and maybe I'm going to sleep with her the second date, the third date, maybe that night, who knows, and she the guy the night before, she the guy that morning. To me, that's gross. I would find that gross.
But you don't know that going into it. So
well, I don't.
So, and you don't
There's
ask.
ways to tell. There's ways to tell.
There's ways. So
not with certainty, but there are certain, you can see it in their behavior a little bit if they're a bit more promiscuous, or you can see there's certain things that you can tell.
Have you been on a date and then someone the day before or
Sure.
the week before?
Yeah. Not in recent times.
So, okay. So now it's like, now mature you is like, I'm not down for that. But reckless you was like, I'm f***ing all these girls and going on all these dates the next day.
I really have never, I've always valued, if I sleep with a girl, I want to pursue that. I want to see where it goes. It might not end up being a long-term relationship, but I'm not interested in one-time things. I'm not interested in one-night stands. I'm not a big partier. I barely drink. I'll occasionally have a glass of wine or beer. I don't go to bars. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to parties. So I'm not really into hookup culture. If I'm dating a girl, if I go on a date with a girl, I want to pursue that. A girl has to severely f*** up for me to sleep with her once and never want to talk to her again. I will continue seeing her.
Are you a serial monogamer?
Monogamer?
Yeah, monogamous. Monogamous.
Yeah. Monogamer.
I made up the word. Monogamer. You're a serial monogamer.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah, no. Well, do you just like, I guess it depends, right? So I think maybe our perspective is different, but also I'm like maybe jaded, probably.
Probably, a little bit.
But I think, it depends on like how you look at dating. For me personally, I don't really look at dating that way because I feel like when I go into a date, like thinking like I'm gonna f this guy or I'm gonna go out with this guy or this guy's gonna be my man, like you just like put all of this pressure unnecessarily into like the date instead of just like enjoying the date for what it is. It could be just like a connection where you had a bad day and maybe like this person, you went on this date and it was lighthearted and it was fun and you didn't have to think about, work or responsibilities, and then that was it. So it's like, but if I go into it and I'm like already like, I'm going to f this guy, and if I fuck him, it's like, I have to see this guy again. It has to go somewhere. I guess I just don't really look at it that way because I also think it takes a while to really get to know someone. Like, I don't know someone after one date.
Right. Well, first off, I would never go on a date with a girl just for the experience. Just, I just need to blow off some steam. I'm kind of bored. Girls will go on dates because they're bored. Okay, he's asking me to, I guess I'll go. I would never do that. Like if I'm going on a date with a girl, I have a genuine interest in seeing her. And maybe there's not a connection on the date, but I'm going to pursue it. So for me, there's never a scenario where it's like, yeah, I'm just like looking to network, go on a date, maybe like I'm going in with some intentions. Now, and by the way, I want to make something clear. I don't have necessarily an expectation on the date. Like, there's no expectation like this girl has to sleep with. No, not at all. Like, I'm actually like not pressed at all to get laid. Like, we can wait a little bit. That's fine. Not too long though. But I don't know. I think 4 dates is a good.
He's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's come on, guys, come on. But no. So, and I'm just trying to remember the last part of your thing. And you were saying.
I forgot what I was saying. I don't know.
So,
yeah. I guess it's just, okay, I guess to finish it off, it depends on, I think this is where like what we talked about earlier, like transparency. I think that's where it's like big, because it's like if you go into a date and I know like I have no expectations, I could be like, some of the guys that I went on dates with, like I'm like good friends with, and they're just like, you know, we connected and like they're do all types of different work, and it's just like cool to know different people. But that's part of like the fun in it, because I feel like if you've dated or been in a relationship and you figure out what you don't like, how do you find out what you do like if not by dating different people? I mean, that's like the whole point of dating, to like meet people and like see what qualities you like in someone, see what qualities you don't. And I'm not gonna know that if I just like simp and stay with one dude after one date when I don't know him. It's like I usually only sleep with like one person at a time. So it's like, you know, but if I'm getting to know people, I'm pretty open about it. And if someone's not like down with it, then it's kind of probably like, it just like wouldn't, you know, I'm like very casual.